Hello chess friends and welcome to your Out of Chess channel and welcome to another stunner from the computer chess rating list website, the amazing CCRL. We have here Stockfish 17 against another top engine Titan in a beautiful classical variation of the Nimzo-Larsen Attack. And today we see the big fish playing this beautiful opening with the white pieces, the Nimzo-Larsen Attack. And what I really liked about this game is that usually the Nimzo-Larsen Attack is a strategic battle. It is a strategic game. It is a strategic opening. But Stockfish will turn things around immediately. Will turn this opening into a tactical battle. Will show also beautiful theoretical novelty, a different approach in the middle game stage. So put your seatbelts on. If you are maybe playing the Nimzo-Larsen Attack, this is a perfect game for you. And in my opinion, this is simply one of the greatest Nimzo-Larsen attacks that I've seen in my life. So let's dive now into the game with the white pieces. The fish open with the move b3. We have now d5, the classical variation of the Nimzo-Larsen attack. Bishop to b2, knight to f6, and now after knight to f3, c5. You see black has gained some spaces here on this side of the board with knight to c6, maybe in some mind bishop to d6, e5. You can get really a powerful center, but Stockfish continues now with the normal e3. Is trying, of course, immediately to compete for the d4 square. We have now the move a6, we have c4, e6, and now after c takes d5, e takes d5. You see, black is still continuing the game with this space advantage on this side of the board with this hanging pawn structure. Has opportunities, of course, in some lines, c4, d4, b5. Many things can happen on this side of the board, and we should say that black is, of course, much better on this side of the board. Stockfish continues now with g3, competes against progressive plans like b5 with the move bishop to g2, wants, of course, to do some danger on this diagonal. After bishop to f5, the standard idea, I think, in the Nimzo-Larsen attack from black's perspective, we have reached an equal game. Nothing dramatic is going on so far, with good opportunities for both sides. Bishop to g2, knight to c6, and now comes already a beautiful novelty here by the fish. In chess history, d4 has been played, a3 has been played, and Stockfish plays a quite provocative move, kingside castling. Usually, of course, you should suggest to any maybe beginner that he should secure the king by castling, but the issue about kingside castling is that actually black can go with bishop to d3 and hit the rook, and you will never be able to put more pressure in the center. You will never be able to push your pawn to d4. So that's why it was really already provocative by the fish to castle kingside. But let's see alternatives, because even if you play this common idea that we have seen in chess history, d4 is the most often played move. Actually, this move is not so good even for white, because black can go immediately into aggressive line with c4, and this is now already tricky game after something like, I don't know, bishop to b4, you cover, then queen to f5. I'm just showing you one line. Of course, white and black don't have to play the game like this, but I wanted to show you that black can really have a solid position after a couple more moves. After something like d takes c4, you cannot even play rook to b1. The bishop is controlling the square. Suddenly, if in one moment black starts to push the pawns b5, a5, b4 with this 3 versus 1 pawn majority on this side of the board, black would have a great game. So as I said, d4 can be met immediately with the move c4. In chess history, after d4, c takes d4 has been played in many games, so it's, I think, a very often played position, but no one dared to play this move also from black's perspective. So it would lead, I think, into a very complicated game for white. So that's why Stockfish doesn't play d4. That's the beauty. Stockfish played now kingside castling, allowed bishop to d3, allowed really here Titan to block out this position on the d file, but Stockfish plays rook to e1 and says, I have now a different idea. I want to somehow kick away your bishop and maybe launch an attack on this side of the board. Here Titan tries rook to c8. Stockfish counterplays this idea with bishop to h3. We have rook to a8, and now a beautiful idea, knight to e5. And this move is forcing already reaction by black. If you play something like queen to c7, of course, if you're trying to compete here, then you lose the bishop. So that's the issue. You have to now react. That's the most important part about this move, knight to e5. So that's why after knight to e5, bishop to e5, we have bishop to e7, and now knight to c3. Seems strange that the knight is now locking the activity of the dark bishop, but the issue is that you cannot play knight to d7 immediately because bishop to g7 will happen, black will lose a pawn and eventually the game, I think, because the position is collapsing. So see, you cannot play knight to d7 immediately, so that's why after kingside castling, Stockfish plays now knight to e2, beautiful square for the knight, and if something happens now with knight to d7, still you have opportunities, of course, to retreat with the bishop on b2, and then you keep your activity on this side of the board. Now Titan plays the move g5, and it was a huge surprise for me, but my Stockfish engine at home also suggests that black should go with this aggressive method. Seemed risky to me, seemed like a strange idea, but with this move, Titan is trying to lock out now. White light square bishop is trying to keep it out of game, and then eventually play this very important move rook to c8, and then make progress maybe with c4, d4, b5 and similar stuff with this pawn majority that we have talked about in the beginning of the opening stage. So here after move g5, Stockfish continues now with rook to c1, attacks now the pawn, is trying of course to play something like bishop to f6, and then after bishop takes f6 to pick up the pawn on c5. What should you do? If you try now this idea g4 immediately, this is not working because of bishop takes f6, you're trying maybe g takes h3, then you pick up this one. Okay, it seems like equal material, but now knight to f4 is a beautiful continuation here for white, because after bishop to f5, queen to h5, this pawn is falling for sure. This pawn is very weak. This is a weakness. Many dark square problems in front of black's king. Okay, we can agree white has also some light square problems, but these problems can be always solved with the potential f3 move. So from a strategic point of view, this is game over here for black. Even if you don't lose this pawn is hanging. So as I said, too many weaknesses in black's camp. So that's why for rook to c1 we have b6, and now Stockfish in a seemingly solid position for black here. Stockfish launches now a brutal attack, maybe just for fun. If you like to analyze complicated positions, maybe just for fun, try to see now the best continuation here for white. I'm not saying it's like white is moving and winning the game, but it's a very aggressive idea here by the fish. What the Stockfish is doing is Stockfish now complicates finally things. It's not allowing from this point on, I think, black to break. So what would you do now in this position? Take your time. Okay, here Stockfish played the amazing b4. Is trying now to somehow open up the c file, because we have mentioned in the beginning, black cannot compete on the c file because of this beautiful bishop's activity on h3. So let's see options now. For instance, if you try c takes b4, if you play this one, look at this, then it gets so beautiful. Then the knight is coming finally into the game with here knight is d4. You're trying maybe knight to d7 to finally allow this rook to come into the game, but it's not working. Look, it's knight to c6, then you retreat. Then after something like rook to c8, look at this, bishop to d7, queen to d7, and now maybe again just for fun, if you want to practice some tactics, try to see now again the winning idea here for white. This wasn't played in the game. I just showed you a potential line after c takes b4. What's here the winning idea? Pause the video and try to see now beautiful tactical shot. What would you do now in this position? It's a beautiful move. Okay. The winning idea in this position for white is a stunning queen to g4. Look at this. If you play queen takes g4, then knight takes e7 is a beautiful checkmate pattern with the knight and bishop's activity. So even if you try here something like queen to e8, then it's not working, because knight takes e7 simply wins the game, and then something like rook to c8. Look at this. The rook is now connected. Here the queen is also attacking the square. It's simply not working. Even if you try f5 to somehow complicate things, then again knight takes e7, queen takes e7, and now queen to d4 is the stunning idea. Now we have so many dark square problems after a couple more moves. Black is going to resign for sure. So really interesting stuff with this idea after c takes b4 and knight to d4. What could you do differently here? Maybe you can try bishop to e2. Maybe you don't want to tolerate this knight that we have seen was very dangerous on d4. It doesn't get so much better, because here after rook to c6, again the c file is something that bothers now black in the continuation of the game. You're trying again maybe to compete on the c file, but then look at this, bishop to a1 again with some threats to build the battery, delivering checkmate. You're trying to compete. Then queen to h5. You may be trying something like this. Look at this, bishop to f5. The light square problems are something that bothers, of course, black now in the continuation of the game. You maybe try to get out of this mess. Look at this. We can even just this. I just wanted to show one line. You can even sack the exchange, and after a couple more moves, the game would be over here for black. So nothing can be done. After c takes b4 or bishop to e2, the game is completely collapsing here for black. I think we should have really solved now this positional problem after move b4. So that's why after move b4, here a5 was played by Titan, and Stockfish continues now with this idea. B takes c5. We have b takes c5, and Stockfish has now again two choices. Has now the opportunity to play this idea that we have talked about previously with bishop to f6 and bishop to f6, rook to c5, and I myself would probably play this immediately without even calculating everything. I would say I have a good position here. Why should I not play this? I cannot lose now this game. And still, my Stockfish engine evaluates this position as a better position for white. Nothing wrong with this, but Stockfish is of course a different beast. Stockfish never misses to find the best moves. Of course, after b takes c5, Stockfish plays a calm rook to c3, attacks now this unpleasant bishop on d3 that Stockfish allowed in the first place, of course, and now again Titan has to react now. So here Titan played the move c4, and now again, maybe many of us would play something like, I don't know, knight to d4, knight to f5, maybe, I don't know, something like queen to c1, maybe even f4 in some lines is maybe aggressive here, but Stockfish, the brutal fish, is playing now stunning rook takes d3, gives up now the exchange immediately here, and now it's a different story. Now Stockfish wants to get the knight on d4. Stockfish simply wants to get this knight on the optimal square, and now from this square the knight is helping on f5. The queen could be maybe later included into the game. Beautiful now attacking formation by Stockfish 17. Rook to a6, bishop to f5, we have bishop to d6, and now bishop takes f6, not bishop takes d6, because you want to get rid of the key defender of black's king. That's now the most important part here to say. So now it's a different story within this particular position. I think black could even defend this position. So that's why bishop takes f6. Here we have queen to f6, and now queen to g4. The queen comes on this active file, is attacking now indirectly the king on the g file. We have now rook to b6, and now h4, using now the tensions, of course, on the g file. h6, bishop takes d3. Stockfish gets now the pawn back. Stockfish has now a compensation in a bishop and in a minor piece and a pawn for the lost rook, but has also different compensation in light square problems in black's camp. So you see now these are now huge tactical problems in black's position. So I would say a perfect compensation for the lost rook here by Stockfish 17. So after bishop to d3, we have now rook to b2, attacking now the pawn, and now rook to d1. Again, a calm move by Stockfish, not allowing anything to happen here on the second rank. And now after rook to d8, again, simple improvement by the fish, never rushing with the attack. First of all, improving all of the pieces, even the king, putting them on the most optimal scores, and then launching a new attack against black's king. We have now rook to b8, and now f4, h5, queen to h5, g takes f4, and now a beautiful king to h3. The issue about this move for black is now that you cannot play f takes g3. You would love to do that. You would love to, of course, also somehow put more pressure against white's king, but then after queen to h7 and king to f8, rook to f1 is coming, and there's nothing that can be done. This is game over here for black. You can maybe try something like this, but look at this, knight to e6, for instance, is also winning the game. Beautiful attack here by the fish. So after king to h3, king to f8 here by Titan. Stockfish continues now with g takes f4, opens up now also here the g file. Still many problems white has also, we have to mention, especially on the second rank. If something, of course, clears maybe on the third, fourth rank, could be also very dangerous here for white. But Stockfish calculated everything in a good way. After g takes f4, we have now rook takes a2. Titan grabs a pawn, and now Stockfish plays a beautiful bishop to h7. Wants now to somehow get something here on the square g8, maybe the rook or maybe the queen, somehow delivering a dangerous check on g8. Rook to a3, knight to f5. We have now king to e8. If you play something like bishop to f4 here, I've analyzed also now this tactic seems logical because white cannot take because of the tensions on the third rank. This is not working because of queen to g4. Then the issue is, as we said, You have a double attack, you're attacking the bishop, and there is also the checkmate threat with queen to g8. So it will be a lost piece here for black. So that's why after knight to f5, king to e8, rook to c1, we have now rook to d8, which is now the first really brutal mistake here by Titan. Titan so far try to defend somehow this position against Stockfish, but even if you try d4, that's now the suggested move by my Stockfish engine at home, and now Stockfish is saying the position is so bad for black that you can do whatever you like and you will still lose the game. So the evaluation here, even after the suggested move by Stockfish 17, is 1.5 in white's favor, so completely winning, I would say, here for white. But for human eye, it's of course a different story. We cannot really calculate so in such a deep way. So that's why d4 would be, I think, still a messy position for many of us with the white pieces, because you have to really now calculate everything. And after move d4, actually white still can of course survive this attack with queen to f3. The issue is there is a huge problem with queen to c6 check. So now you're trying maybe d takes e3, you can still play d takes e3, and you're trying now maybe queen to e6, not allowing this knight to move, knight to g7, the fork is not working because of the tensions on the slice for diagonal. Then queen to c6 is going to happen, and now the rook is coming into the game. You can maybe deliver one check, but even with king to g4, you can escape. And as I said, Stockfish calculated everything in a good way. Stockfish says this should be the best line here for black to somehow survive going into a fully endgame stage where white has of course two minor pieces for the rook, but still I would say completely winning for white, because you will eventually get the knight back and start to push this pawn with the support of the rook, with the support of these two minor pieces. Again, I would say completely winning endgame here for Stockfish for sure. So that's why here first mistake, as we said, rook to d8, but even this d4 line is not working for black. After rook to d8, Stockfish continues now with bishop to g8. Bishop to f4 comes now, the tactic that we have also discussed earlier. But now after bishop to f4, Stockfish plays a beautiful counter attack with rook to c6. This is the way to go. If you play of course queen to c6, then queen takes f7 is an amazing checkmate. So here after rook to c6, we have now rook to d6. Here Titan is trying to compete somehow here in this position, but now Stockfish plays an amazing move, maybe just for fun. Again, pause the video and try to see now here the best continuation for white. It's again very hard to see, very complex, I would say, tactics here that Stockfish produced. So just take your time and think about the best continuation here for white. What we do now in this particular position. I think we have many beautiful moments of this game in which you can practice tactics, but also beautiful strategy. So what's now the next best move here for white? Okay. Here the best move is bishop takes f7, trying to deflect the queen from the defense of the rook. Knight takes d6 is not working here, because after bishop to d6, actually it's an equal game. It's again a drawish position. So you see many things can go wrong, although you have the perfect position, and one problem, and you're reaching nothing here, because after potential now bishop to f7, you will reach then this endgame in which probably you lose this pawn, and with the same material again, completely drawish position. So this is not working. So that's why for bishop to Stockfish played bishop to f7 instead of knight takes d6. Now we have king to d8, getting out of this attack, and now we have rook to c5, rook to c6. Here Titan is desperately trying now to trade off more pieces, and Stockfish says thank you, I will take it, because there's nothing that can be done. Your king is so endangered, you don't have any defensive chances anymore. So let's go back. I forgot about the one important line. Here after move rook to c5, my Stockfish engine at home again suggests that you should play something like bishop to h6 in order to somehow survive the attack. Trying of course to somehow keep the pieces glued together and getting out of this attack by the pawn. But even in this scenario, queen to g4 threatens of course queen to g8. You're trying now queen to f7, and now knight to d6 is a different story. You can deliver some checks, but now in this potential endgame it's not the same, because here you can maybe attack the knight, but now with rook to d5. I'm showing you this line because previously we have seen black would then have the chance to play rook to d3 and grab this pawn in this sequence. sequence, it is not working. So now it's a completely again winning endgame. So Stockfish suggests you always the best line, but you see even in this line black is completely lost. So here you don't have time to play this move rook to d3 because you will eventually get also the royal that's not the royal fork, you get the fork here on f7. So nothing is working. So that's why here rook to c5, rook to c6. Stockfish says thank you, why not, why shouldn't we trade off more pieces, because now I have this idea, knight to d4 hitting the queen, and now queen to c4, pretty forced move here for Titan. And Stockfish continues now again with a beautiful move, king to g4, gets simply out of this tactical mess on the third rank. And you see Titan cannot deliver checks anyway, at least not good checks. You can maybe try queen to c8, but then bishop to e6 is covering everything, so nothing really can be done here in this lane position for black. So again, let's see chances. If you try something like bishop to d6 to get out of this mess, then bishop to d5, you're trying to escape, then we cover with knight, delivering a check, new check. Look at this, you're trying to cover again, knight to d4, you have several I-square problems. You could also lose the queen, you're trying maybe to escape, then knight to f5, and the pawn is marching. So again, game over. The pieces are in such a good position that they are shielding white's king. You can also cover yourself with the pawn, and even in this line, completely winning position here for white. Even if you try, instead of bishop to d6, bishop to e3 to somehow maybe open up the here the position, then look at this, you get the check, and yet you get a new check. Stockfish calculated everything in a good way, and again the queen could be connected here to the pawn on e3. Again, nothing can be done. Game over here for black. So after king to g4, that's why rook takes e3 by Titan. Stockfish took again, Titan took, but again we have seen this problem. Queen to e8 check, and now we pick up this one. Okay, you can pick up now the bishop, and we have reached now the fully endgame stage, and obviously this is winning here for Stockfish. Stockfish has now the extra piece, continues now with the pressure, pushes now the pawn further. Titan tries to cover, and now a beautiful idea. First the promotion, now delivering a check, picking up the queen, and after a couple more moves in this particular position, Titan resigns. So, oh, great stuff here by the fish. The Nimzo-Larsen Attack, amazing tactical ideas, really beautiful attack. I liked really this opening theory in the beginning, allowing this bishop to d3 move. Here after move kingside castling, allowing bishop to d3 seems strange. It's really provocative. Many of us, I think, would play the move bishop to d3, not allowing this d4 move. That seems logical, but we saw d4 is actually not even the best strategy here for white. White has to search for different opportunities, using the power of this diagonal, using, of course, some attacking chances on the e-file, and it was perfect play again by Stockfish 17. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Interesting here stuff in the Nimzo-Larsen Attack. If you want to see some other beautiful games, please check out our yesterday's games played by Stockfish, where Stockfish demolished in the Ruy Lopez theory with the black pieces another top engine in only 18 moves, which is really crazy. Here's the link to the video, and here's also the link of our whole playlist about our commented chess games played by computers. And if you like this content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.